Hi, welcome to Bowly Polish. My name is Selena and today I'm going to be doing a review on the BH Cosmetics palette by Bubzbeauty. BH Cosmetics is a US company. It's based in California and the owner's name is Fred something. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. I can't. He used to be an owner of an ad agency and you could really tell that marketing is his thing because the way that BH Cosmetics have become such a big thing is through social media, lots of YouTubers, lots of promotion that way. So he did a really good job at that because it was only a company back in 2009. So in 7 years, I think that it's blown up to be something pretty big. Bubzbeauty is a YouTuber that I watched back in 2010. My most memorable video from her is one that she did on oats. She mentioned that she had really reactive skin and taking a bath with oats really helped her, and it's something that I kept in my mind ever since then. If you watch my DIY videos for my soaps and scrubs for eczema skin, you'll see that oats is something that I include in that, and it was actually very influenced by that video that I watched from her back in 2010. I have to admit I was actually quite surprised that she came out with a palette because beauty isn't really her focus now. I think it's more on her vlogs with her really cute son and her husband, and even back then I never really watched her beauty videos, so I was quite surprised. I didn't even know about this through YouTube. I mean, I'm pretty involved in the community now, but I found out through my little cousin who asked me to help her order it for me, and I was like, what? Bubzbeauty came out with a palette? Why didn't I even know about that? I thought, okay, that'll be really neat. I'll buy one for myself and one for Viv. I would love to just check it out and review it, but it was $8 for shipping, and I thought that was a lot for a $12 palette. But recently they came out with a really great sale, and if you spend $50 then you actually get free shipping. That meant that I could get 2 of these guys, and this is actually my way of telling Viv, my little cousin, that I got this palette for her. Surprise! With that sale though, you get this free palette called Pride and Prejudice Zombies, and it wasn't really something I was really into, but it got me free shipping. That's the only reason why I use a promo code. And surprisingly, I also came with this bubble wrap that's pretty much all popped up. I mean, who loves popping these bubbles? I do, and so I was quite sad that this was like all deflated. Anyway, that was totally unrelated. That was just a part of my experience with ordering this palette. So let's get back to the product itself. It's called Bee by Bubzbeauty, and it has this really lacy, kind of pretty print. I know you can't really see in the camera right now. I'll show you guys close up because I don't have autofocus on this camera. And it's really baby pink, which is totally her style. And the reason why it's called Bee, if you open it up, it says happy, grateful, genuine, optimistic, inspired, bold, charismatic, thoughtful, able, confident, hopeful, and kind. So the reason for that is that these are supposed to be aspirations. So for example, it's be happy, be grateful, be genuine, etc. And on the very top, it also says, be whatever you want to be. Bubby. I thought it was a little bit cheesy, but I also thought it was very Bubs. I mean, she's a very sweet person who's not jaded by the world like me, who thinks a lot of things are cheesy. One thing that stood out to me was how similar this was to a Stila palette that I have. They're both cardboard, and the size is quite similar. Even the colors inside the palette were a little bit similar. But you could tell that the Stila eyeshadow was much drier and these ones were much softer. And there's a big difference in price too, so that was pretty nice. When I looked at the back, I noticed that it said made in PRC, and I was like, what the heck is PRC? And I actually had to Google it. It turns out to be People's Republic of China, so I thought that was interesting that they didn't want to say made in China, but I think that's a new way that generally people say it now. And it says it's distributed by California though. Now I read online that the ingredients are made in Germany but the packaging is made in China, and that's how it ends up being so affordable with better quality though. I don't know how true that is. I saw that statement from quite a few years ago. I don't know if that's still true, but if it is, that would be great. And it is a cruelty-free product, and when I picked this up, Tim asked me, what does BH stand for? And I was like, what does BH stand for? And I ended up looking that up, and it was actually quite difficult for me to find, and I think that it stands for Beverly Hills. There's nothing on the website that confirms it. I just saw here and there people saying on forums that's what it stands for, and that is where it's based out of, in Beverly Hills, so it would totally make sense. It's a very nice travel friendly size, and I don't think that the color will get nicked up. I mean, it's a pretty similar shade to my Stila palette, and I've had that for ages. I've had no issues with getting it dirty or anything. There is a sheet in between to protect the palette and the eyeshadows, and so that keeps the mirror clean, which I really appreciate. It is a little bit flimsy though, and I mean, I guess that's what you get for a $12 palette that is supposedly made in China. The mirror is great for traveling as well. Now let's get into the actual swatches. Happy didn't really show up on my skin. I didn't expect it to either, because shades like that don't usually show up on my complexion. I think I'm a little bit too dark for that. I really recommend you apply this with your finger if you have darker complexion like I do. Grateful is a rose gold color, and it didn't really show up on my skin either. Again, apply this with your finger if you have darker complexion like I do. Genuine or genuine, I pronounce it genuine. I don't know if that's a Canadian accent or not. This is a nice taupe shade, which is very useful and versatile in a palette. It shows up a lot better on my skin than Happy and Grateful. Optimistic is a good base color. I actually used it underneath today on my eye. Inspired is a darker brown. It's great for the V part of your eye, and this showed up a little bit better on my skin. Bold is a nice bold shade, and this showed up a lot better as well. A little tiny bit patchy, but not so bad. I actually realized that I had some follow on the blanket, so I ended up putting a tissue paper under my arm just to protect it. Charismatic is a dark gold shade, which is actually what I was really looking forward to the most, because I just love gold shades. Thoughtful is an amber shade that's also great for fall. Able is a coppery shade that's also really great for the fall season. Confident is a dark purple that I had a lot of trouble swatching. It barely showed up. I just swatched it so many times and ended up being patchy and barely even showed up on my skin. I know that purples are just really difficult to make, but I say either don't make it or just really invest in making it really well. I'm never gonna end up using this out of the palette. Hopeful is a really nice yellowy shade. This was really pretty, but on my skin it actually turns out looking kind of silver. It's great for your brow bone or for your inner eye corners if you have darker complexion. Kind is a lighter purple that also barely shows up on my skin, so that was quite disappointing. I was actually quite concerned because on the tissue underneath the swatches I was doing, there was a lot of fallout, but when I applied onto my eyes, I didn't have any at all. Even Urban Decay Naked palettes, I find that I get so much fallout underneath my eyes. I always have to clean it up, but I actually didn't have to clean any of this up, even though there was so much shimmer in a lot of the shades, and it was fine though, and I was really surprised at that. For the cost though, I think it was not bad at all. I mean, my Stila costs a lot more and is much drier, and this blended out pretty nicely. I do think a lot of these shades are better suited for fairer complexions, but some of the shades actually turned out better on my eyes than on my arm. I think that my arm is actually darker because I don't exfoliate as much as my face. I think the color selection was a lot better than my Stila palette too, so overall I'm pretty happy with it, especially considering I spent so little on it. If you haven't checked it out already, Leslie and I are doing a little giveaway just to show our appreciation. Even if you aren't entering our giveaway, we like to thank you anyway, because I mean, there's lots of things you could do with your time. There are lots of other videos you could be watching, but you are watching ours, and we are very grateful for that. And please stay tuned so you could see what we have next. See you!